Hi everyone, I hope you all watched the previous videos. Let's start the session. We are continuing the chapter 4, micro measuring device. Okay, which of the following is an indirect measuring tool? So that is option A, inside caliper. Okay, you can see here in the image that is the inside caliper. Okay, so inside, outside, and divider calipers offer an indirect measurement of an object. Okay, with direct measurement, measuring instruments such as vernier calipers, micrometer, and coordinate measuring machines are used to target dirt. Okay, the depth bar of vernier caliper is attached with, so that is attached with movable jaw. Okay, you can see here in the image. Okay, so this is the depth bar. Okay, it is attached to the movable jaw. Okay, this portion. Okay, this is the movable jaw. Okay, vernier height gauges are used in conjunction with the, so vernier height gauges are used in conjunction with the surface plate. Okay, you can see here in the image that is the vernier height gauge. Okay, the vernier height gauge is used with the dial indicator to check hole location, pitch dimension, concentricity, and eccentricity. Okay, it is also used for measuring depth with a depth attachment. Okay, it is used to measure size from the lower plane with the help of an offset scriber. Okay, a vernier dial caliper accuracy 0.05 mm, beam scale reading 25 mm, and the reading shown by the hand of the dial is 24. Okay, so least count he given that 0.05, right? Least count equals to 0.05 mm. Okay, and main scale reading is 25. Main scale reading is 25 mm. Okay, vernier scale reading, that is 24 mm. Okay, and the total reading is so MSR, that is 25 plus 24 into 0.05. Okay, this is the VSR. Okay, so it is around 26.2. Okay, 26.2 mm. So option D. Okay, a vernier caliper can be used to measure. It can be used to measure outer day of hole, inner day of a hole, depth of blind hole. Okay, so all of the above. Option D. The number of divisions on vernier scale of a vernier micrometer are. So that is 10. Okay, 10 divisions. Vernier height gauge works on the principle similar to, it is similar to a vernier caliper. Okay, vernier height gauge is a measuring device which is used for measurement of height of any object and marking done by help of scriber. Okay, it is based on the principle of difference between main scale and vernier scale like vernier caliper. Okay, least count is 0.02. Okay, least count is 0.02 mm. Okay, what happens when the lock nut in the vernier caliper is not tightened after taking the measurement? So vernier will slide and dimension will change. So option A. Okay, While measuring with vernier caliper, the movable jaw lifts and gives incorrect reading. To get correct reading, so adjust the jib provided in the movable jaw. Okay, option C. What type of angle is measured with the vernier bevel protractor? Figure shown below. So here that is acute angle. Okay, so acute angle means less than 90, right? So it is it is less than 90. Okay, you can see here. So this is less than 90. So acute angle. Okay. Graduations on vernier bevel protractor. In vernier bevel protractor, the 23 degrees is divided into how many vernier divisions? So we discussed that that is 12. Okay. 12 divisions of vernier scale are equal to 23 degree or 23-degree divisions of the main scale. Okay. One division of vernier scale equals to 115 minutes. Okay. Now we can say that the least count of vernier bevel protractor is 5 minutes. Okay. Least count equals to 5 minutes. Okay. Vernier micrometer have additional equality spaced graduations given above the datum line. So that is option B. 10 equally spaced line. Okay. Vernier micrometer have additional equality spaced graduations given above the datum line. 10 equally spaced lines. Okay. Vernier bevel protractor is an example of. It is an example of angular measurement. Okay. This is the vernier bevel protractor. Okay. Number of scales on gate tooth vernier are. So that is option D, 2. Okay. It has two vernier scales, one horizontal and other is vertical. Okay. Indicate the combination of instrument used for measurement of dovetail. That is option D, roller and vernier caliper. Okay. So there are situations where measurement of component cannot be taken directly, right? So the combination of instruments used for measurement of dovetail is roller and vernier caliper. The size of a vernier height gauge is specified by, that is specified by height of beam. Okay. The size of a vernier height gauge is specified by height of a beam. Okay. And the vernier height gauges are used in metrology and metalworking to detect or measure vertical distances. Okay. The least count we know that 0.02 mm. Okay. A bore of 14.67 mm, a workpiece can be measured by, that can be measured by vernier caliper. Okay. The vernier reading should not be taken at its face value before a actual check has been taken for. So that is zero error. Okay. During measurement, vernier reading should not be taken at its face value before an actual check has been taken for zero error. Okay. The principle of universal bevel protractor is similar to that of vernier bevel protractor. Option A. Okay. This is the vernier bevel protractor and this one is the universal bevel protractor. Okay. The principle is same for. Okay. On which part of the vernier bevel protractor are the main scale divisions graduated? So that is on disc. Option B. Okay. Disc is the most important part of vernier bevel protractor. It has a main scale which is divided into 360 equal parts. Okay. Each division is equal to 1 degree. Okay. The value of each vernier scale division or vernier bevel protractor is. So that is option C. 1 degree times minutes. Okay. The least count of universal bevel protractor is. So we know that that is option B, 5 minutes. Okay. What will be the least count of vernier caliper shown in the figure? Here, value of one division of main scale equals to main scale equals to 1 mm. So vernier scale division equals to, so 49 mm. Okay. So here 1 VST equals to, VST means vernier scale division. Okay. 49 upon 50 main scale divisions. Okay. So that is equals to 0.98 main scale division. Okay. So the least count equals to 1 MST minus 1 VST, right? So that is equals to 1 minus 0.98. So that is equal to 0.02 mm. Okay. So that is option B. Okay. Least count of vernier caliper is defined as, that is defined as difference between a main scale division and vernier scale division. Option B. Okay. In a vernier caliper, what is the difference between a section of the main scale and a section of vernier scale? So he is asking about the least count. So that is 0.02. Okay. Option D. In a vernier caliper, which one is smaller, main scale division or vernier scale division? That is option C. Vernier scale division is the smallest one. Okay. Which of the following is a precision measuring instrument? So that is vernier caliper. Vernier caliper is a precision measuring instrument. Okay. A device used to measure the inner and outer diameter of a shaft and the depth of aperture. That is vernier caliper. Okay. Vernier depth gauge is used to measure. It is used to measure step depth of blind hole. Okay. Which of the following formula is used to find the least count of vernier caliper? So that is least count equals to value of 1 MST minus value of 1 VST. Okay. In a metric vernier caliper, 49 main scale divisions are divided into 50 vernier scale divisions. So least count is here he is asking about the least count. So division on the main scale is 1 mm. Okay. Division on main scale equals to 1 mm. Okay. And 50th division on the main scale equals to 49 divisions on the main scale of vernier caliper. So division on the vernier caliper equals to division on the vernier equals to 49 upon 50. Okay. So least count equals to how much? Least count equals to 1 MST minus 1 VST, right? So here 1 MST is 1 mm minus 1 VST is 49 upon 50. So 1 by 50. So that is equals to 0.02 mm. Okay, so option C. Okay, no need to do all these things. It's a general question. So by looking at the question only, you can put the option as C. Okay, he's asking about the least count. Okay. The minimum measurement that can be correctly read with a vernier caliper is. So that is least count. Okay. In vernier caliper, 100 divisions of vernier scale occupies x divisions of main scale. Find out the value of x if the least count of vernier scale is 0.01 m. Okay. So here division of the main scale equals to 1 mm. Okay. So x divisions of the main scale equals to x mm. Okay. So 100 divisions of the vernier caliper equals to x divisions of the main scale. So divisions of the vernier scale equals to vernier scale equals to x upon 100. Okay, x by 100. So least count equals to 1 MSD minus 1 VSD. So here 1 minus x by 100, right? So least count here he mentioned that how much 0.01, right? 0.01 equals to 1 minus x by 100. So x by 100 equals to 1 minus 0.01. So that is equals to how much 0.99. So x equals to 99. Okay. So option C is the right answer. Okay. Option C. Which of the following instrument has a vernier scale? So both A and B, vernier caliper and universal bevel protractor. So option C. Okay. Accuracy of vernier caliper is equals to. So that is least count. Okay. During measurement using the vernier caliper, the main scale reading is 25 mm and 28th vernier caliper coincides with the main scale. Okay. The least count of vernier is 0.02 mm. The measurement is. So I will write it down directly here. Okay. The reading equals to main scale reading is here 25 mm. Okay. 25 mm. Okay. So vernier scale reading that is equals to plus 0.02 is least count and coincides with 28th division, right? So 28. So total would be 25.56. Okay. 25.56 mm. Okay. So it is option C. Okay. In a vernier caliper, 50 divisions of the vernier scale occupy 49 divisions on the main scale. Okay. The main scale reading is 30 mm and 20th vernier scale division coincides with the main scale. What is the reading? So first of all, we have to find the least count that is equals to 1 minus MSD by VSD. Okay, so that is equals to 1 minus main scale division 49. Okay, 49 upon 50. So that is equals to 1 by 50. So that is 0.02 mm. Okay. So least count is 0.02 mm. So here total reading would be total reading is main scale reading plus vernier scale reading. So here vernier scale reading is least count into coincidence division that is 20, right? So the final answer would be MSR is 30, right? So main scale reading he given that 30. So 30 plus least count is 0.02 into 20. Okay, that is equals to 30.40. Okay, 30.40 mm. So it is the option A, 30.4. Least count of vernier caliper is defined as, that is defined as the least distance that can be accurately measured by a vernier caliper. Option C. Okay. In vernier height gauge, the scale division is marked at, that is marked at B. Okay. Measurement of step depth of blind hole is done using. So that is option D, vernier depth gauge. Okay. Vernier caliper main scale, the value obtained on the vernier scale at zero position is equal to 15. And the vernier scale division, the value obtained on the main scale is 30 is equal if the least count is 0.01. Then measure the dimensions. So here main scale reading is 15 mm. Okay. So main scale reading is 15 mm. Okay. So vernier scale reading is what is the least count? 0.01 into 30. So that is equals to 0.3. Okay. So the reading would be main scale reading, that is 15 mm plus vernier scale reading, that is 0.3. So that is 15.3 mm. Okay. So option A. Okay. Vernier depth gauge is used for measuring. That is used for measuring step depth of blind hole. Okay. Option A. The vernier caliper is used for measuring. That is used for measuring thickness. Okay. While using the vernier height gauge, it must be placed on. So that is surface plate. Okay. Vernier height gauge is used for inspection of parts and layout work. Okay. Measuring and marking vertical distances above reference surface. Okay. A vernier fine adjustment screw is used for. So that is used for taking accurate measurement. Okay. On which part of the vernier height gauge are the major scale divisions calibrated? So that is on beam. Okay. At which position of vernier height gauge the scriber is on the same level as the base? So when vernier scale reads 0. Okay. That is option C. Okay. When a vernier scale reads 0, then the base and scriber of height gauge are at the same level. Okay. The width of square thread of pitch P is. So that is 0.5 pitch. Okay. Option B. You can see here in the image. Okay. So here the width, you can observe here, this is the width, that is equals to pitch by 2, half of the pitch. So that is equals to 0.5 pitch. Okay. Vernier bevel protractor measures up to, it measures up to 12 in part of 1 degree. Okay. Option A. Vernier caliper is not used to measure what? So that is option D, height of tower. Okay. The minimum measure of vernier bevel angle scale is. So that is 5 minutes or 1 by 12 degree. Okay. or 1 by 12 degree. Okay, which is not used to measure the diameter of beaker in laboratory. So that is option A, vernier caliper. Okay, what is the use of vernier bevel protractor? It is used to measure angles. Okay, least count of vernier caliper having 50 VSTs. So here 1 VST equals to 49 upon 50. Okay, so least count equals to 1 MST minus 1 VST, right? So 1 MST is 1 mm minus 49 by 50 mm. Okay, so that is equals to 1 by 50, that is equals to 0.02 mm. Okay, option D. The standard tool used to measure the diameter of an internal recess. So that is 3-point internal micrometer. You can see here in the image. Okay, this is an 3-point internal micrometer. Okay, and it is used to obtain maximum accuracy of bore diameter of metric system. Okay, you can observe here the internal recess is touched by these 3 points. So that's why it's called 3-point internal micrometer. Okay, so there are few more parts are there. So main body, scale thimble, ratchet stop. These are, you all know that, right? So no need to discuss about it. Okay. What is the accuracy of vernier height gauge? So that is 0.02 mm. Okay. Which of the following is direct measuring instrument? So that is vernier caliper. Metric vernier micrometers least count is. So in metric vernier micrometer, the datum line on the sleeve, 10 parallel lines are marked. You can see here in the image. Okay. This is the vernier scale. Okay. This is the thimble and the sleeve. Okay. So um, in metric vernier micrometer, the datum line on the sleeve, 10 parallel lines are marked. Okay. So this is called vernier scale. These 10 lines are equal to a part of the thimble. So the least count equals to pitch by thimble into division of vernier. Okay. Division of vernier. So that is equals to pitch is 1 by 2. Okay. By thimble is around 50. Okay. Into 10. Okay. So that is equals to 1 by 2 into 50 into 10. So that is equals to 1 by 1000, right? So that is equals to 0.001. So option C. Okay. When a depth bar attachment is attached to, so that is attached to movable jaw. Okay. Principle of vernier caliper is, so two scale of the same measurement based on the difference between the main scale and vernier scale, option A. Okay. Vernier caliper is made up of which material? So that is stainless steel. Okay. So these are usually made of nickel chromium or stainless steel. Okay. Accuracy of vernier caliper in metric system. So don't get confused by the options. So it is 0.02 mm. So option B. Okay. Accuracy of vernier bevel protractor. That is 5 minutes. Okay. What is measured with vernier caliper? So, vernier caliper is measuring internal and external diameters and depth. Okay, so all of these. Wide depth beam is provided at the back of vernier caliper. So, to measure a depth. Okay, what is the main difference between reading of vernier and micrometer? So, that is option B, least count. Okay. The main difference between vernier caliper and micrometer is that the least count of vernier caliper is 0.02 m and the least count of micrometer is 0.01 m. Okay. Function of offset scriber of vernier height gauge is. So that is to draw line. Okay. Okay. On what principle does the vernier bevel protractor work? So that is difference of two scale. Okay. 1 MST minus 1 VST. Okay. The third module, other micro measuring devices and uses. Okay. In that first one, the gap of the threads of screw gauge is 0.5 mm and the number of parts on the thimble is 25. Find out the least count of screw gauge. So that is 0.02. Okay. How? So here least count equals to pitch up pitch upon parts of thimble. Okay. So pitch is 1 by 2, right? So we can take it 0.5. Okay. And number of parts on the thimble is 25. Okay. So that is 1 by 50. That is equal to 0.02 mm. Okay. So option B, right? The size of sign bar is taken by its length. Okay. The commonly available sizes are 100 mm, 200 mm, 250 mm, and 500 mm. Okay. And sign bar is used to measure angles based on the sign principle. Okay. So the commonly used to measuring the taper angle of inner and outer side cones. Okay. Least count of instrument is related to what amongst the following? So that is inversely proportional to the precision. So option B. Okay. Any measurement made by the instrument can be considered repeatable to no less than the resolution of the least count. Okay. The least count of an instrument is inversely proportional to the precision of the instrument. Okay. What mechanism is used in the lever type dial test indicator? So that is rack and pinion. Okay. So rack and pinion mechanism is used in the lever type dial test indicator. Okay. And rack and pinion mechanism has two main functions. The first one is conversion of the steering wheel's rotation motion into the linear motion. And the second one is reduction of gears, which makes it easier for the steering wheel to turn the wheels. Okay. So this is the rack and pinion mechanism. Okay. Okay. What is being done in the sine bar plus slip gauge system shown in the given figure? So the angle between the top surface of the component and the surface resting on the sine bar is being measured. Okay. So option C. Measurement of pitch of external thread by pitch measuring machine is done how? So that is by placing stiles between flanks of two sequential threads. Okay. Measurement of pitch of external thread by pitch measuring machine is done by placing stiles between flanks of two sequential threads. Okay. Dial test indicator measures. It measures the small dimensions accurately. Okay. A dial test measures the deflection of the arm. Okay. Typically used to measure clearance, tolerance, and variation is tolerance of machined parts of ensure accuracy. Okay. Dial test indicator works on the principle of rack and pinion. Okay, we discussed how many millimeters are there in 0.1 inch. So here 2.54 mm. Okay, so one sorry 1 inch equals to 2.54 centimeters. Okay, so that is equals to 25.4 mm. Okay, so here 0.1 inch equals to 0.1 into 25.4 mm, right? So the answer would be 2.54 mm. So option C. Okay. The two slip gauges in precision measurement are joined by ringing. Okay. So this is how the two slip gauges are joined. Okay. This is process is called ringing. Okay. So first you have to slide with the pressure like this. Okay. One is vertical, one is horizontal, and make a plus symbol and turn it. Okay, turn like this. Okay, and it will join. Okay, the minimum measurement that can be correctly read by any measuring tool is called, that is least count. Okay, observation error is also known as one of the following. So that is equidistance error. Okay. It is possible to measure the angle of component to an accuracy of 1 minute with. So it is with the sine bar with slip gauges. Option D. Okay. A sine bar is used in conjunction with slip gauge blocks for precise angular measurement. Okay. It is possible to measure the angle of component to an accuracy of 1 minute with sine bar with slip gauges. Okay. Center line of the contact rollers and the datum surface of the sine bar are, so they are parallel. Okay. The pointer of plunger type dial indicator points to 52 divisions on dial and its revolution count is shown 2 divisions. Least count of the instrument is 0.01 mm. So the value of reading is, so revolution count is 2 divisions. Okay. Value of reading, okay, equals to, so 2 divisions, right? So that is the main scale division. Okay, let it be. So 2 plus 52, 52 into 0.01. Okay, so that is equals to 2.52. Okay, so option C. Okay, the measurement in a dial test indicated is, so that is the magnified small variation in size through a pointer. So option C. Okay, dial test indicator is a high precision instrument. Okay, it is used for checking the flatness, parallelism, straightness, ovalness, etc. It is used to set the job in the center of the lathe machine. Okay, a dial test indicator magnifies the deviation in size and display it on the graduated dial with the help of a pointer. Okay, dial test indicator are used for, so it is used for comparing and determining variation in sizes. Option C. Okay, A block level can be used for it can be used for checking vertical and horizontal alignment. Okay, so you can see this is the block level. Okay, it consists of a small glass tube containing a liquid and air bubble. The tube is sealed and fixed horizontally in a block. Okay, for vertical and horizontal alignment, the block level tools are used. Okay, for horizontal alignment, the spirit level tools are used. Okay, one of the measurement technique to determine the accuracy of screw thread is three-wire method. Which one of the following element of an external thread is checked for its accuracy by this method? So that is option C, effective diameter. Okay. Three-wire method uses three wires of the same diameter for checking the effective diameter and flank form. Okay. The wires are finished with a high degree of accuracy. The sizes of the wire used depends on the pitch of the thread to be measured. For measuring effective diameter, three wires are suitable placed between the threads. Okay. While laying out, the vernier height gauge must be used on the surface plate. Okay. This is the surface plate. Okay. The size of a vernier height gauge is specified by height of the beam. Okay. While marking with a vernier height gauge, the workpiece is generally supported by an angle plate. Okay. Which one of the following element of an external screw thread cannot be measured directly with precision instrument? So that is pitch diameter. Okay. Pitch diameter of an external screw thread cannot be measured directly with precision instrument. Okay. The length of sine bar is the distance between center to center between the rollers. Option C. Okay. The purpose of the holes provided on the sides of the sine bar is easy to handle, supporting the slip gauges using a reference while setting to reduce the weight as well as to clamp the workpiece. So option D. Okay. Trigonometry, the formula for sine is. So easy one, right? So that is opposite side to hypotenuse. Option B. Okay. So let's take an right angle triangle. Okay. So this is 90. So this is angle theta. Okay. This is hypotenuse. This is opposite side. We can say perpendicular. Okay. And this is the base. Okay. Okay. So the sine theta equals to opposite side, that is P by hypotenuse, that is H. Okay. And the sine bar of length L equals to 200 mm is used to check accurately the angle theta of the workpiece. The build-up height of the slip gauge is H equals to 85 mm. Select the correct angle. So here length of the sine bar equals to 200, right? 200 mm. Okay. And height H equals to 85 mm. Okay. So sine theta equals to 85 by 200. Okay. So theta equals to sine inverse of 85 by 200. It is around 0.43896. Okay. So it's in radian. So radians. So that can be converted into degrees. 896 into 180 degree by 5. So that is equals to 25.5 151 degree. Okay, so that is equals to 25 degree 10 minutes. Okay, a sine bar is available in standard sizes. Which one of the following is not a standard size of the sine bar? So it is option D, 300. Okay, so the commonly available sizes are 100, 200, 250, and 500. Okay, 100, 200, 250, 500. Okay, not 300. A sine bar is used to measure. It is used to measure external tapers. Okay, which one of the following instruments is used to check the concentricity of the outside diameter? So that is dial test indicator. Okay, which instrument is used to accurately measure the angle of taper? So that is vernier bevel protractor. So option C, vernier bevel protractor is used to measure an angle with more precision. Okay, so its least count is 5 minutes, right? Checking the nature of the thread using. So it can be checked by using optical profile projector. Okay, option A. Optical profile projector, optical measuring instruments are used for highly precise measurements. Okay, they are known as optical instruments because light beam are used as amplifying levels. What is the use of vernier bevel protractor? So accurately measures the angle of taper. Okay, a micrometer has a positive error of 0.01 mm. What is the correct reading when the micrometer measures 10.41 mm? So here it is a positive error. So we will subtract from the um, measurement value. So here correct reading equals to what is the measured value? 10.41 minus 0.01. So that is equals to 10.40. So option B. Okay. The instrument used for precision measurement of angles. So that is vernier bevel protractor. Okay. What is the least count in bevel protractor if main scale graduations are 10 parts and number of graduations in vernier scale is 12? So that is 5 minutes. Okay. Which one is not a measuring instrument? So that is option D, odd leg caliper. Okay, odd leg caliper is also known as Gini caliper or hermaphrodite caliper. We discussed that in the previous classes. Okay, it is a marking tool, not a measuring tool. Okay, it is used to draw parallel lines or find the center of the cylindrical bars. Okay, bevel protractor is used to. It is used to measure or mark angles. Okay, which of the following instrument for angle measurement? So that is sine bar. Okay, among the options, that is sine bar. Okay, so this is the sine bar. Okay, when using sine bars, angles are measured according to the ratio between the height of the slip gauge and length of the sine bar. Okay, so sine theta equals to height of the slip gauge upon length of the sine bar. Okay, opposite side to hypotenuse. Stopper is provided at one end of the slip gauge. Function of it is. So the function it is to prevent job to slip. Okay. Bottom surface of sine bar and the center line of the contact rollers are. So they are parallel. Okay. If the lever of plunger of a dial test indicator is parallel with the measuring surface or not. If it is not in straightness, then it is called dash error. That is a cosine error. Option A. Okay. A cosine error occurs when the plunger or lever of the measuring instrument is not parallel to the workpiece to be measured. Okay. Mechanical comparator mostly used it is of two different types. Which of the following mechanical comparator is not a gauge? So that is micrometer. Okay, micrometer is not a mechanical comparator gauge. Okay, in pneumatic comparator is used. So that is compressed air is used in the pneumatic comparator. A pneumatic comparator is a precision device operated using a pneumatic system or compressed air like other mechanical, optical, and electrical comparators. Pneumatic comparators are also used to analyze the dimensional difference between the workpiece to be measured and the standard workpiece. Okay. Negative reading in dial test indicator is called. So that is called when the needle is moved anti-clockwise from the zero reading. Okay. In dial test indicator, when the needle moves anti-clockwise from zero reading, negative reading occurs. When the needle moves clockwise from zero reading is positive thing occurs. Okay. Dial test indicator works on the principle of. So that works on the principle of rack and pinion. Okay. Accuracy of dial test indicator in British system. So that is option A. Okay. Accuracy of dial test indicator in metric system. So that is option B. Okay. Dial test indicator is not used for which of the following work. So that is marking. Okay. Tooth cut in 1 inch in a rack in dial indicator in British system. That is 40. Okay. Option B. In British system, up teeth are cut in 1 inch pitch on the rack of dial test indicator. Okay. Pitch of cut tooth in dial test indicator in metric. So that is of mm. Okay, option C. Okay, of a 0.5 mm. Okay, in metric system, the internal structure of the dial test indicator consists of teeth on the rack, 25 mm length. So the distance between two teeth is either half mm or 0.5 mm. Okay. Lever type indicator works on the principle of. It works on the principle of revel and scroll. Okay, lever and scroll. Dial caliper is not available in which list count? So dial calipers are available in the list count of 0.01 mm, 0.02 mm, 0.005 mm, but never in the list count of 0.1 mm. Okay, so option A. Micro measuring instruments is used. So use thumb nut. Okay, thumb nut used in micro measuring instruments. Okay. Minimum measurement by dial test indicator, that is 0.01 mm. Okay, option B. Measured by dial test indicator. So that is all of the above. Okay, flatness, parallelism, taperness can be measured by dial test indicator. Okay, bezel of dial test indicator is used for. So that is used for zero setting. Okay, in dial test indicator, scale is rotated by a ring bezel to set easily to 0. Okay, some dial test indicator read 0 as plus in clockwise direction and minus in anti-clockwise direction, from which reading of plus and minus are taken. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.